Joe, I want to tell you what I experienced during the time I spent with him. Joe literally embraced me, like with his arms, when we met for the first time. Him and his team made sure that we had everything that we needed while we were there. About when the apocalypse comes, you think you're going to be eating all these deer and elk and stuff. You're going to be eating squirrel, buddy. Squirrel. me and you and Clay and Cam, and we ought to set up a big squirrel hunt one weekend.
I've had squirrel once. With Ranella, he cooked some squirrel up for us. It was good.
Boy, if we could get him to come in and cook, too, that would be outstanding. Hard time making this wild game taste worth a flip.
Do you?
I'm just not a good cook, man.
I noticed that. Well, I was going to talk to you about your steak cooking. We got to work on that. I watched you cook a steak on a Traeger, and I was like, listen, the way to cook a steak on a Traeger is you can cook a steak on a Traeger. Like, you can cook a good roast on a Traeger, be able to sear it. And so you can't really sear things on a Traeger. And I saw what you did. You tried to turn the temperature up real high and then cook it at the end. The key is get it on a frying pan. Like, get it low and slow on the Traeger. I like 225 degrees with the super smoke. Get it nice and smoky. And then cast iron skillet. Get that motherfucker hot. Put some beef tallow in there and like 90 seconds on each side.
Seals it up.
Perfect.
Now, he's spent decades building this podcast, and he allowed me to share my experience, my testimony, and this faith that I have. Even though we don't have that in common, him and I, not yet anyways, but he allowed that to happen without interruption. There were plenty of times that he could have made me look like a fool.
Does your wife cook?
Yeah, she cooks too.
Yeah, my wife cooks. I'm so blessed that she cooks because I've got a long ways to go. I actually I cook for her one night a week. And it's worked out a few times, but I'm learning. I appreciate that tip on the steak.
I learned that from Whiskey Bent, my friend Chad, Whiskey Bent Barbecue. And he said, if you really want to cook a steak correctly, he goes, you want it to be slowly cooked and then sear the outside, the reverse sear method.
Well, my cousin raises all the cows we eat.
Oh, that's great.
My mama makes all the bread we eat. My wife grows all the vegetables that we eat. I'm going to say seasonally, you know what I mean, seasonally. We get our water right out of the ground. I take buckets of water once a week, go collect water. Comes right out of a spring. Some old rednecks found a spring back in there and ran a PVC pipe out of it, and so we just go there and collect all our water.
So you're totally off the grid.
Well, we'll order some stuff. No one person is going to produce everything that they need for them and their family to eat.
Right.
It's my cousin, he raises cows, so we know where they're coming from. We know how they're living. We know what they're being fed. When the apocalypse comes, you think you're going to be eating all these deer and elk and stuff. You're going to be eating squirrel, buddy. Birds, maybe a possum every now and then. Yeah. Them deer's going to be gone quick.
Probably, right?
So you want to really subsistence, get your meat from the wild, you got to be able to hunt small game. Squirrels, rabbits, coon, possum. You go out and try to hunt a coon without a dog, Good luck. Ain't going to kill no coon.
Right.
I can take a good dog out and kill 10 coons in an hour if I'm in a good spot.
What does raccoon taste like?
Raccoon's pretty greasy. You got to cook it right, So much wild game. Other than elk, I found elk seems to be really, really good, even if you're not a skilled cook.
Yeah.
It's just the best wild game meat I've ever ate.
Yeah, I agree.
But like these squirrels, coons, things like small game, even rabbit, they can get real tough. Yeah, that's coon right there. You cook it in a crock pot. A lot of these small game, you slow cook it, and that kind of helps keep it moist and break it down.
To cook it to a high temperature, too. Raccoons probably get trichinosis, right?
I don't know if a coon does or not. I've killed a bunch of bears, and I know they do. That's the one thing I didn't like about bear.
Yeah, me too. It makes me uncomfortable.
I've killed 2 black bears, both of them with my bow. Both of them about 500 pounds.
Whoa.
And big black bears.
Are these Georgia black bears?
No, these are Virginia.
Oh.
There's a place in Virginia called the Great Dismal Swamp. It's about 110,000 acre continuous block of land. That's what's left of it.
Boy, Chad, you're bold. You have no fear to go on here and share what you shared on this big show here. But let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I was very afraid. So all of y'all think that I ain't got no fear, that I'm bold and all this stuff. I was very afraid. I was a daggone nervous wreck.
During springtime, when them bears were out with cubs, I couldn't even hardly run my coon dog up and down through there. There were so many bears in there. And they would get, mad at us for being in there and start popping their teeth and making racket. I took a young man with me down in there one time, and I was hunting a dog called a leopard cur. And I cut that dog loose in there, and he went down in there, boom, slam, treed. I thought, all right, this is good, because coon hunting can be rough. We walked the guy with me, and he had the rifle. We got up to the tree, and I walk up to that dog, and it leashed back on the tree there. And he said, "What is that?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Stop and listen." And I stopped, and that dog quit barking for a second. And all of a sudden, I hear bark raining down on the leaves above my head. 300-pound black bear comes sliding down out of that tree like it was on a fireman's pole. Landed, I'm talking about that joker landed right in the midst of me, him, and the dog. And he's standing there, he's just frozen. And about the time that bear hit the ground, I snapped the leash off of that dog, because the dog was my only chance to run this bear out of our vicinity. And these cur dogs are real gritty. That dog tore out after that bear, ran him out. I looked over at that boy, I said, "What? You've got the gun, you just stood there and didn't." He said, I thought that happens all the time." But that's how many bears was in this area, man. So I'd be out there whitetail hunting, and a big old 500-pound boar bear would come up. I've had them climb the tree that I was sitting in, the tree stand. But if a big one came by, it's hard not to shoot a big trophy bear, especially with a bow. So I've killed two, but when we killed them bear, I would just, there was a lot of real poor people that lived around in there. Well, I'd call Zachariah when I'd kill that bear. Well, then he would call all of his people in the community, and we'd take that bear down to the skinning shed, and within 10 minutes, we'd have 50 people lined up at the skinning shed with grocery bags and process this bear, and these, poor people, they'd come down there and get them a big piece of meat. Well, by the time everybody was done, they wasn't maybe but one piece of meat left,
To use me in some way, shape, or form. Still don't figure out why he's chosen to use me for anything. But I want to go ahead and tell you, whatever was said on there, if anything good was said by me, it wasn't because I had some plan. It wasn't because I had it all figured out. There was something else there. And a lot of you guys know what that something else was.
Do you know what I mean? Because I don't like bear, but I sure do like killing them.
Have you ever had it cook well? Done well?
We've cooked some at the house, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not a good cook.
Yeah,
man.
You just have to learn how to do it. My friends John and Jen, they run an outfitter they're outfitters in Alberta, and they're bear hunters. And I've been bear hunting with them, and they take like a roast, and they'll cook it on a Traeger. They brine it. They put it in they marinate it, and it's fantastic. It's like better than the best roast beef you've ever had.
There's a way to make it taste good.
It's also in what they eat. If you get them and they've been eating like a dead moose, and and they've been feasting, and it's not good.
Yeah, no,
you want to get acorn bears.
These bears we were killing, the reason they were so big, they were eating corn and soybeans.
Yeah, perfect.
They'd eat a pile of deer guts too. I mean,
yeah. They eat everything.
I would gut a deer out there. If I killed a deer, I gut it in the woods. I don't gut them back at the house.
Do you know that the early pioneers preferred bear meat and they used deer just for skins?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, like Daniel Boone and all those fellas. Those guys, they were bear hunters.
They wanted the fat.
They wanted the fat, and they ate bear meat because they thought it was closer to beef.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, it is closer to beef,
yeah.
I would say, than deer.
Yeah, and if it's cooked well, it's delicious. It's just you got to get a bear that's not eating rotten meat and not eating fish. and cook it right. Bear sausage is fantastic. It's all just in how you get it prepared.
Yeah.
How you do it. Renell is really good at it.
Well, see, I got to start running in the right circles with people that can cook. That's my problem.
My friend Jesse, who owns this restaurant out here called Die Do It, he runs a school that teaches people how to shoot hogs, how to butcher them, how to cook them. And he likes old, ruddy, old hogs, and he really knows how to do it correctly. This is a new school of traditional cookery. So Jesse will take people, and he'll take them out there, teach them how to hunt, teach them everything about it.
It's so much easier just to cook a ribeye.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the easiest.
It's the
easiest
easiest.
is, yeah, something about wild game to me it's a different kind of food. It feels different when you eat it. There's more energy to it.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so nutrient dense. You eat it and your whole body just goes woo, woo. You feel it, you know? Like you cook an elk steak and you eat that medium rare and you just biting into it and it's juicy and
I can't wait, man.
Oh, yeah.
I hope I get one. I think these boys are serious.
Yeah.
So
well, with a rifle, your chances are a lot higher, and I know you're a real good shot, so you're probably, and I, like you, also could shoot accurately at a distance, which is huge.
Yeah.
They'll have no idea you're there. You know, I'm sure you can make a 500-yard shot easy.
See the reaction of people to our conversation. It's amazingly, overwhelmingly positive. And I want you guys to share in that. You know, the scriptures tell us that the word of God, when it goes out, it will not return void. And so what we get to witness now is the reaping of the harvest.
you been up to the Yukon Territory at all?
No, I haven't.
I just got back. You know, it's been quite the journey, both on the macro and the micro level. About the last month, sitting with a good friend of mine, one of my biggest mentors in my life. I'd sit with him for hours on end while he was dying. Then I had to leave him, and I went out to the Yukon. I got a teammate that I went through SEAL training and all with. He was paralyzed 14 years ago, and he wanted to go on an adventure. And I said, well, there's a race out there. It's a 1,000-mile kayaking race. It's the longest kayaking race in the world on the Yukon River, totally unsupported. He said, all right. Well, he prepared for about 2 years, and we went out there and did that on the Yukon River.
Wow.
And then I came home, and my buddy died the day I got home. And so it's been a wild last month or so. Have you ever got to sit with anybody
While they're dying?
important to you?
Not while they're dying.
I highly recommend it. It will teach you so much, man.
About what's
It
important.
has made me grow. Like, I don't know, man, it just gives me the daggone chills thinking about it. And the crazy
Thank you for all the support that all of you have given me and encouragement that you've given me over the years. If only you knew how weak I am and how much help I need, you would know how much you guys mean to me. Joe, if you watch this, thank you for being a special human.
thing is the type of person that I used to be, I would have thought, you know, going and sitting with someone who's dying is a waste of time. Like, I got other things to do, right? You do too. We got busy lives. Well, this man, he mentored me, hunting and everything, working, all that. His name was Don Tidwell. From the time I was about 13 to the time I left to go become a Navy SEAL. Well, I did my whole Navy thing. I got out. I reconnected with Don for a while, but then I started this company now that we have, 3 of 7 Project. I have a curse from my military service, I have this unique ability to be able to forget you ever existed. When I get on some sort of mission and you're not part of that anymore, I can forget you ever existed. And so I lost touch with him because of my own selfishness, and been doing this thing for the last 4 or 5 years. Well, his wife called me and said, look, he just wants to see you one more time. He's got pancreatic cancer. He's got maybe 2 weeks left. He just wants to see you one more time. Good night, man. Took a lot of courage for me to go show up and sit down with him and say, Mr. Don, I'm sorry I haven't been the friend to you that you deserve. Will you forgive me? He's laying there dying. He looks back at me and says, son, there's nothing to forgive. I mean, just like, and then I'd go sit with him twice a week for 8 or 9 or 10 hours, just sit right there by his bed. I'd read the scriptures to him. He only had a 3rd grade education. We read about the gospel, and we read about the resurrection, and we read about creation. And you know what you learn, I think, when you sit with somebody that's dying is that death is the great foe that sits above mankind and scoffs at our wisdom. He said that death is this great foe. It is the enemy that sits above us and mocks the wisdom of man.